Welcome to The Political Shelf, a series in which I recommend reading for reformers. Today, The Madness of Crowds by Douglas Murray. First published in 2020, Douglas Murray's The Madness of Crowds is indispensable for anyone who wants to understand the pervasive influence of identity politics on society. This book is essential reading for reformers and others who seek a coherent, deeply reasoned perspective on the current debates around gender, race and sexuality. Murray examines the central issues that have come to define our cultural landscape, dissecting the arguments and assumptions behind modern identity politics. With precision and insight, The Madness of Crowds explores how these issues, once centred on individual rights, have shifted to group identities and moral certainties, often at the expense of free expression and shared values. For Murray, identity politics is not simply about equality. It has become a dogma, one that demands conformity and often thrives on divisiveness and resentment. In his exploration of sexuality and gender, Murray delves into how the discourse around LGBTQ+ rights has evolved in recent years. He acknowledges the significant progress made for equality, but criticises the shift toward ideological rigidity. He warns, "The problem is that when anything is made sacrosanct, it becomes impossible to discuss." Reformers will find this examination crucial as Murray highlights the risks of moving beyond the pursuit of equality to an approach that demands ideological allegiance and at times overlooks the nuances of individual experiences. Murray's discussion of race and identity focuses on how today's conversations often centre around collective guilt and perpetual victimhood, overshadowing individual merit and universal values. One only needs to examine the public remarks of the Labour MP Dawn Butler to understand perfectly how this is manifested daily in UK politics. He critiques the tendency to attribute grievances to broad societal structures without considering individual agency, observing that we are creating a world where people are judged on what they are rather than who they are. This framework allows us to address issues of race with a balanced perspective, acknowledging past injustices while resisting narratives that entrench resentment over reconciliation. One of the most challenging and contentious topics Murray addresses is the rise of transgender ideology. Here he advocates for compassion for individuals with gender dysphoria, while also cautioning against policy decisions that, in his view, risk compromising hard-won rights for women. Murray's stance is nuanced yet unflinching. We are being forced to pretend that something is real which isn't real, he states, referring to debates around self-identification and biological differences. Reformers who seek clarity on this complex issue will find Murray's arguments invaluable as he navigates a path between empathy and reason. Ultimately, The Madness of Crowds serves as a warning against the rise of ideologies that resist scrutiny and thrive on absolutism. Murray argues that such movements don't merely push for social justice, they demand conformity and silence dissent. Everyone is lying about everything, and with good reason. At almost every stage of this descent, the choice was made to be polite, to let it go, to lie. But the lie is metastasizing, he says. We see in this book a call to defend reasoned debate and to recognise the importance of speaking openly and honestly about these issues, even when it's uncomfortable or unpopular. So why should you read it? In The Madness of Crowds, Douglas Murray equips his readers with an arsenal of arguments, a toolkit against the encroachment of identity politics on every facet of life. His critique is both a rallying cry for those unwilling to conform to ideological trends and a reminder that Western civilization depends on open discussion and mutual understanding. This book is essential for anyone who values freedom of thought, and it's a must-read for reformers who wish to engage meaningfully in this culture war. Thank you for listening to The Political Shelf. This review was first published on the 2nd of November 2024 on X at Noel Reforms.